Welcome, Saratoga. Today's a beautiful day in the city of Saratoga. We've got an exciting program for today. We are going to talk about the revised shelter-in-place order that's going on with the county. But first, just some updates on the statistics that I try to follow on a regular basis. Nationally, we continue to improve on the coronavirus. That is a very positive sign. The state of California, unfortunately, is seeing one of the largest number of new cases in the nation. Now, we are nothing like New Jersey or New York were in the middle of the tragedy. But California is kind of split into two separate regions. I've talked about this a little before. Over 80% of the cases are south of San Luis Obispo. Los Angeles, Riverside, Orange, San Bernardino, and San Diego counties have got, first, a lot of people, but they have a much higher growth rates. Locally, I mentioned this last time, Santa Clara County for 2 weeks is one of the only counties west of the Mississippi that has achieved a certain level of statistical reduction to actually qualify for some level of reopening. And as of this, the last week, we have been joined by San Francisco County and Contra Costa County. So the Bay Area is doing a really good job. So how are we doing in the county? Well, we continue to bounce between around 10 cases and 50 new cases a day. We seem to be running between 0 and 2 deaths a day. All deaths are unfortunate, but the number is dramatically lower than it used to be. We saw 15 new cases yesterday. That's on today's reporting, and it was about 30 the day before. So there's a range that we're bouncing around in. I know everybody always asks me, where are the new cases? And there's a presumption by many that they are in long-term care facilities. And I need to make a comment about that. When this broke loose in March, and we had limited testing capability, there was an upsurge in care facilities, but all the care facilities are very well managed, and they've sorted out procedures and protocols. And so in our county, there are very, very few new cases from the long-term care facilities at this point. It peaked sometime in early April, and it's declined to near 0 for the last many weeks. And so the new cases that we talk about are predominantly coming from within the community. It's those that are getting around within our community. Both our police and fire departments have reported that none of their officers have contracted the virus. So they're proud of their safety protocols. So the rates at the hospitals of staff infection is very low. So we're left with the public, it's us. And so I just want to remind everybody, we are exercising social distancing. Those rules are going to stay in place the longest. And so that means it's probably going to prevent movie theaters and concert gatherings and large venues for a while longer. We want a 6 feet minimum spacing. 6 feet is a minimum. So, respect it if you have the opportunity. Wash our hands. Don't transfer from stuff you touch, hard surfaces, to your face or your mouth. And then to help you prevent spreading and to provide you some level of protection, we wear a mask when we're in people's businesses or we're outdoors around other people. So a mask is important. It's not the end-all be-all. Washing is important. It's not the end-all be-all. Social distancing is important, not the end-all be-all. But collectively, we can keep ourselves safe and keep others safe. So I know I talk about this data all the time. Where is the best source locally to get data? And so we could pull up the slide. So the county has a website, and I'll give the URL in just a minute. And it has on it sort of the key items that are necessary in our county as comes from public health. They have the 5 key indicators that the county talked about. And you can go in there and see sort of how we're doing. And you will see some of them we're doing exceptionally well on. And some of them, like contact tracing, while we have that capability in the county, they are actively expanding that capability. They've got stuff on social distancing protocols and best practices. Someplace on this website is the whole order if you want to read the details. And there is the COVID-19 testing page. Super important. In our county, we have the capacity today to take 4,000 tests, but we have not broken the 2,000 test barrier. And so county health has relaxed the guidelines on who should get tested. And it's a quick test. It is somewhat unpleasant, but it's over in a second. And so it has always been, if you have any symptoms, please contact your doctor and get tested. But they've expanded a little bit farther. Obviously, they've had first responders and medical people. Those people have been on the test list. But we've added people that are in high contact with the public. So your grocery store workers are now approved to get tested, whether they have symptoms or not. Anybody over the age of 60 or anybody that's medically at high risk. So right now we're in this process of, we have the capacity to test more. The health officials want to test more, but a lot of people are thinking, yeah, I don't really need a test. But they want to know. They want to know if you have it, or if you have mild symptoms, or if you have moderate symptoms. People with severe symptoms always seem to be getting their tests because, well, they're very sick and it's obvious. But it's everybody else. So we are in a massive push right now to expand testing. If you meet any of the criteria I mentioned, contact your health professional and you can get a test. If you go to this particular testing website, they've got data on how to get a test. Now, the detailed data that I talk about for our county is contained on the county's dashboard website. And I have an example of today's dashboard here. This is but one of 20 different screens that they have that let us interpret the ever-changing data. This dashboard is updated at least daily. Sometimes it seems to update a little bit more frequently than this. And you can tell exactly where we are. You can tell by zip code if you want it. You can tell by age groups. This page is for active new cases. The other page is one that has the data on unfortunate deaths. There is a page that lists all the care facilities in our county. A lot of information. If you're a data junkie and you want to know exactly what's going on in our county, this is the web page that I recommend and the county recommends. Now, to get to the main web page at the county, a wealth of information. You can always start at the city web page, but if you just want to go there directly, sccgov.org/coronavirus. Okay, and that will land you on their main page that has 5 different areas, one of which includes the dashboard, the social distancing protocols, and the testing page. So lots of good information. Okay, so I have with me today our city manager, James Lindsay, and a lot of stuff has changed since we last talked, James. Our state has issued some new guidance, and regionally within the Bay Area, the counties maybe a few hours out of step with each other, but our counties have all moved into phase two of loosening up the shelter in place and the lockdown. But first, let's talk about our city. In terms of city services, everything's running, but City Hall is closed. Tell us what's going on in City Hall.
So we are continuing to provide the services to the community within our community development department. So all of the zoning approvals, building permits, inspections, all of our road repair work, park maintenance, all of the services that folks are familiar with us providing are available. We do not have the ability to do in-person drop-in appointments right now, just to maintain the social distancing protocol. But we are encouraging folks to email, make phone calls, and when needed, we will do an in-person appointment for planning and building permits. But again, we're encouraging folks to reach out to us first via phone or email.
All of the city facilities that are indoor are essentially closed or closed to the public. So no senior center, no rec programs. The Prospect Center meeting room is not being rented out to groups right now.
Currently, that is correct.
And our parks are all open, but our play equipment is still off limits right now.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. And we have bathrooms too.
Bathrooms have always been open. Trails are open.
Okay, there is an opportunity. If you haven't seen all of Saratoga's parks, we have many. You can hit up the Saratoga website and maybe pick a park near you and make a half day of it. Make a family outing, get some sunshine and a little exercise, and explore a little bit of what's going on in our parks at the city. Okay, so James, now the county has sort of changed the rules a little bit for us. What is going on at the county level? What is now possible in our city that we couldn't do last week? I shouldn't say now, it's going to be Friday, right?
Yeah, so I think the two significant changes, and you know, I do encourage folks to go to the county website and read the order themselves, but I'll highlight, I think, two of the most important changes that will be opening up shortly. And the county is now allowing the small retail businesses to do curbside sales and pickup, which is huge for Saratoga. As you and many of our viewers know, our retail businesses here in Saratoga are all independent small businesses, and the fact that they've had to close for the past 2 months has been very unfortunate for them and their employees. And so the fact that now that they can start opening back up, I think is a very significant improvement. The other big change that we saw in this latest order was the ability to do the car parades for our graduates. We think that is absolutely huge. A number of our local schools wanted to look for creative ways of celebrating, you know, that transition from middle school to high school or graduation from high school. And now to have that be a sanctioned event under the county's order is very significant, and we were very, very happy to see that.
Yeah, there are some rules on these parades. These are not a walking parade or a bicycle parade. This is an inside your car parade to sort of contain each family unit. So each school that's working on this, they have devised a set of rules, and those are approved through a process with the sheriff and the school district. Again, the intent is to keep everybody safe. I did write a letter in the Outlook to our graduates of this year, and I will summarize it this way. Life is full of change, and how we respond to change is our measure of success. And nobody planned to do graduation on Facebook Live, but that's what the times demand. And so our ability to respond and continue on and rise above this is what will define us. And so I applaud the class of 2020. There is a lot of information available about how the state could and should and would continue the process of loosening up. Our health director has made the assessment that it takes 2 weeks to know the full impact of any change in the system, and they have committed themselves to reassessing every 2 weeks. And so we expect them to continue to monitor the situation closely, but we don't expect any dramatic changes in a period shorter than 2 weeks. So the other thing which is going on, if you look at the governor's guidance and even the national guidance, there's sort of an order of opening up. And we're not even up to in-restaurant with reduced capacity dining yet. I shouldn't say even. That's pretty far down the list. But after that comes large gatherings, you know, think weddings or big community events. So it's unfortunate. For example, Memorial Day is one of the largest community events in Saratoga. It has a very, very long-standing history. But we can't put 1,000 people into Madronia Cemetery. We won't be able to do it next month because there's no way to do it and have a meaningful ceremony and maintain the social distancing requirements. So that will be virtual. So I suspect that we are going to see social distancing as one of the stall weathers of this order. And I think as they did it when they shut down, they went, no groups could meet that were larger than 100, then 25, then 10. I think you're going to see the reverse happen. They'll do some number that isn't completely unlimited. So some of the really large events within our city, Memorial Day, for example, are clearly impacted, and probably future events will be impacted as well. Okay, so I think that was the key stuff. In terms of city business, tonight is a city council meeting. There's one topic of discussion and a couple of different action items on that, and that is the Mountain Winery. And so if you're interested, go to the city website. The council's going to try to make a determination if there's anything that we can do with respect to this project. And if we do decide there's something we want to do, anything that we direct is going to come back to the council at a future meeting. So this is not the last meeting unless the project ends. And if it's not the last meeting, there'll be ample opportunity to see exactly what we're thinking and respond to that as well. Nobody's heard from our council in 9 months, so I am looking forward to the opportunity to tell the citizens and have the council explain to the citizens what we've learned in the last 9 months and how we're viewing this project. Okay, so that's what I have for that. Let me talk a little bit about some of our local resources super quickly. We have a slide for this, I believe. So there are many organizations that serve those within our community, and I highlight these three every time. We always have our senior organization, SASE, Saratoga Area Senior Coordinating Council. They offer an array of services, help with getting groceries, help getting to medical appointments. There's a lot of issues that are going on, completing taxes. If you have a need for help and you're a senior, contact SASE. You can go to their website, but they also have their phone number, 408-621-7526. So they have a whole new process for people to call in and get help. If there's anybody in the community that is in need of food or rental assistance or other forms of help, West Valley Community Services has served the Saratoga area in the west side for decades. They're located in Cupertino. They also run a food bank program that ends up at West Valley College on Wednesdays. If you or anybody you know needs those sorts of services, please contact them. And then lastly, I have our Chamber of Commerce listed here. And I have to say, especially now more than ever, if we want to have local businesses, we need to support our local businesses. I know we're all being safe at home, and that's a good thing, but our restaurants, many of them are operating on a skeleton crew. They're providing exceptional quality food. You can get it DoorDash or you can get it pickup. And then as James already noted, some of our retail establishments will be able to do curbside. This is not their ideal business environment, right? You miss the ambience of a restaurant. You'll miss the ability to browse through a store. But if we expect these stores to open so that we can sit in their restaurants or browse through them, we are going to have to find a way to support them now. So I strongly encourage you to go to the Chamber website, figure out which businesses are open, and make that extra effort. Order some food, go pick it up, eat it at home, or find something that you need at a local retailer. Now, this will be next week. Support these local businesses. And then my last announcement on local businesses is one that is one of the quirks and cherished gems of Saratoga, but the strawberry stand on Saratoga Avenue between 85 and Lawrence Expressway is now open again, and they bring us fresh strawberries daily from the South County, and they will run all the way through summer. Respect your social distancing there, but you can stop, jump out of your car, and get a flat of super fresh strawberries or cherries or other fresh fruit. Again, it's one of those businesses that existed for decades in our city. It's a little quirk of our city, but if we expect them to be here, we're going to need to support them in these trying times. All right. Okay, next up, let me let me move right along. What's our next slide here? Right, this is our opportunity for one of my favorite people in the whole city of Saratoga. We have right here in the hills of Saratoga a gym that some people haven't heard about yet, and that is the Montalvo Arts Center. And it is absolutely amazing space. It is an historic estate with super significance to the state of California, but it is also an active concert venue. It's also, while not public, it acts as a public park. It's free for the public to go to. And, and as the name implies, it is an active arts center with artists in residence. And so I am honored today. We have the executive director, Angela McConnell, with us today. And you're here to tell us all about Montalvo. But before we start, let me ask, this whole thing's going on, we're all sheltering in place. How are you and your family doing?
Well, hello, and thank you for having me here. We're doing fine. We're managing. It's a crazy time for all of us. We had 2 virtual college graduations in the yard, and it is what it is. It will never be forgotten. And that's what we're all being asked to do, to rise up to this. And I have a high school freshman who's got 2 more days left of high school first year, and she lives in her room doing her work on Zoom. But Montalvo's coming along.
So that was where I was going to go. So
Yeah.
so I'm glad to hear your family is safe, and to the extent we can, everybody's adapted to the situation. I mean, that's what's demanded, so we're rising to that occasion. So tell me what's going on at Montalvo.
Yeah, well, Mayor Miller, the arts have been the salvation, I think, for all of humanity during this crisis. I mean, from all of what we're seeing on the media, from opera sung from balconies in Milan to people reciting Bob Dylan lyrics, the arts have been this place for unity, for comfort, for joy, and have helped us, I think, feel more compassion and empathy for our neighbors. So as you mentioned a moment ago, Montalvo's gardens and grounds and hiking trails are open. Safe distancing.
So that's I got to admit, I did not realize that because I'm a frequent user of your trails.
I know that.
And so you guys, how does somebody get to Montalvo, and is there parking up there?
Parking is open. We're managing it carefully. We are a very reduced staff because of, we really had to shut down all of our earned income programs. You mentioned weddings and large gatherings. Those have all been, many rescheduled to 2021 and even 2022. So we've lost lots of revenue from that, from concerts and so forth. But the gardens and grounds are absolutely beautiful. And I invite people to come and to be with family and to hike those trails. We have a wonderful, inspiring social media campaign called #SocialArtSolation, where we've invited artists from all over the world to comment on what this means to be isolated. And it's really wonderful. If you go to the website, you can see David Benoit in his home talking about composing at Montalvo as an artist in residence. But something we recently did is we downloaded some virtual backgrounds.
I think we have a couple of them here. Let's put them up and you can tell us what we're doing.
Yeah. So, if you go to our website or Facebook, you could have access to these beautiful images of Montalvo, and they could be your very own Zoom background.
So this picture here, I always call it the lawn,
Yeah.
but that just so understates it. This is the front of the estate,
It's magnificent.
and the public can come picnic on this lawn.
Yeah, only if they're socially distancing. So don't invite your friends, just have your family. Yeah,
Eventually, we will get to that.
right.
This is beautiful. Looks like it's got a little fall color in it, so it might not quite look like this right now. I think we've got some spring color pictures.
Yes.
So let's see our next one here.
I took a wisteria shot. I think that yeah, there we go. So our wisteria is absolutely gorgeous. We have a lot of native California flowers and trees, and our gardener has been doing some, again, on our Instagram and Facebook commentary on some of the work that she's been doing around the gardens with one volunteer. Can you imagine managing all of those acres on her part-time schedule? So this is beautiful. The trails are beautiful. I think there's
We got a
an
trail picture
image.
here too.
Yeah. And I
It's,
know, Mayor Miller, you run up that trail.
I have run that very trail. It is, the park has got it, the grounds have, and again, I'm sorry for using the word park because it was a private estate, but it is a park.
It is.
It has got immaculately manicured, very visual parts of the organization or the grounds that have been set up well artistically. I
Yeah.
mean, it's gorgeous. And then there are parts that are just like that trail, which are completely rustic, and you feel like you're a million miles away in the mountains.
Right. And if you want some solace, and who doesn't want and need some solace now, we actually have a healing walk. It's an installation in the forest behind the villa in
Wow.
those trails, by Susan O'Malley, who was an absolutely breathtaking artist that we worked with for years. So I encourage people to do that. And as Mayor Miller had reported, to just use, common sense in socially distancing and having respect for those that are hiking. I wanted to mention the other thing we're doing. We have a wonderful public art project that is going to be coming out on June 1st, and it's called Lonesome, 2 words, and it's part of our incredible year-long initiative we've had on loneliness, reimagining loneliness together. I mean, who could have ever imagined that all of humanity would be socially isolating together? In fact, so from San Francisco and Oakland and all of the South Bay, we're going to have many of these works, I think 32 works on billboards and bus shelters. These are emerging artists responding to this isolation. And there will be an opportunity for the public to also respond with a phone number. So, as part of Montalvo's commitment to this social practice art, looking at these global concerns and through the lens of the arts. So I'm
Yeah,
excited about that.
excellent. A lot of our kids spent time up at Montalvo with camps and stuff. And I know all the camps got shut down right now, but with the loosening rules, what are you guys doing?
We are moving forward with camps. We may be able to do one as soon as June 29th, but we canceled all of the May and June camps. But we're working with the government protocols for safety and social distancing. So the camps will all be out of doors. Even the theater camps will take place on the Garden Theater stage, not inside the carriage house, and they will be small groups of 12.
Okay.
So Montalvo's camps are wonderful because they are all using sort of this incredible property we have. So, fort building and, those kinds of things out of doors. And I don't know about you, but we've done some homeschooling, if you will. And I think parents are looking forward for opportunities, and kids want opportunities to be out of doors.
Right. Yeah, that was one of the hallmarks of summer, was to be
Sure.
able to go to camps. And Montalvo, because of the grounds and the space you have, there have been some unique opportunities up there that can only be had through Montalvo. So if somebody wants to find out about we'll call them later summer camps, because this is July and August. It's
Right.
your website is the right place.
Yes, we'll be updating that, and we'll be sending out information very soon on that. We, like you, with that great report you gave. By the way, it's a tremendous public service that you go so deep with the data, right? Because knowledge is power. So I appreciate that. But we're following it too, and we're making decisions.
So one of the things that Montalvo did as a public service that was totally awesome was the movie nights. We can't do movie nights the way we've done them in the past. Have you figured out a good way to do movie nights yet, or are we waiting for a little more relaxation in the rules?
I'm so glad you asked me that question, because we're exploring outdoor movies with socially distanced seating in the Garden Theater, but we're also having a meeting on Friday to discuss the potential of drive-in movies at Montalvo.
Wow.
I think that'd be super fun.
It would be super cool. Well, we look forward to a future plan and a future announcement in that area. Make sure the city knows. We can figure out how to put it up on our website as well.
Absolutely, we'll do that. The other thing we're gearing up for is we're going to be announcing our 2021 Carriage House concert series. Again, that's in the Intimate Concert Hall. We are, again, looking at mandates, doing national uh, webinars on how you build seat maps that are socially distanced and what it means, looking at virtual attendance if
Right.
people feel that they're in a risk category, that they would want to do that. But really towards January, having a launch of a season. And these shows, these performers are excited to be at Montalvo, and they're phenomenal. So
yeah, it's always a challenge to have a 300-seat theater, but then you can't even sit every other seat. It's more distance than that.
Right.
And
Right.
so,
No,
yeah, I did mention it. I think it's going to be later in the openings, as they go through the phases, that we're going to get back to
Right.
theaters. And I don't know when, but I always appreciated a really packed lobby at intermission. And so things like that are just, we're not going to experience those right now. And it's
That's
kind of,
right.
it's weird.
That's
Okay,
right.
so Montalvo is a nonprofit organization. You have a huge volunteer base. But right now, what could somebody do that actually would be meaningful to help Montalvo?
Thank you. Well, as you can imagine, this pandemic has caused a very incredibly financially challenging time for Montalvo. And so our greatest need is support from this community. And I know that not everyone is in a position to contribute, but those people in this community where Montalvo lives really can make an impact. And this is our hour of need. We will be here. We will come back stronger. We're using this time to really focus and plan for the future, to bring back these audacious exhibitions like we had with Bruce Monroe's beautiful exhibition of light. We are working on proposals out for 2022 and 23 that are going to bring artists and experiences like that to Saratoga. But we would be truly grateful for the generosity of this community of Saratoga to support this 175-acre beautiful estate and 110-year-old historic villa.
Yeah, okay. People should go up and look. And when you see it, I think you will be amazed. And it is a funny experience because you just assume that somehow this is some off limits or something. But the grounds are open, and they're open to the public, and you have operating hours. I should have asked about that.
Yes, I mean, it's, I think it's 8 a.m. We open the gates and we close, around 6 p.m. And behind me in this virtual sign, which is at the front of our turnoff of Highway 9, I truly believe this to be true. Art is the highest form of hope. And Montalvo's mission is so simple. It's engaging the community as far and wide as possible in the creative process. So join us, and thank you for your support.
And after that, I have nothing more that I can say except for I love Montalvo, and thank you for spending your morning with us. And I'm hopeful that everybody takes a minute and explores the website and makes a short drive to visit the beautiful Montalvo. Here's their website if anybody needs additional information. Okay, so that was our show for today. Let me put up the local resources webpage here. If anything that we've talked about is of interest, please visit the Saratoga City webpage. We have our resources page, and from here you can get to the county webpage. You can get to all of the organizations within our city. If you want to get direct, I have those web pages here as well. Again, support our senior center, our West Valley Community Services, and our chamber. And if you need services, if you're a senior and you need help or just advice, get in touch with them. If there is an issue with food or rent or other services, please contact West Valley Community Services. And then lastly, if we expect to have businesses, we need to support our local businesses. And it's hard to tell from home who's open and who's doing what. So please visit the Chamber website, and they have a comprehensive list of all the businesses in our city that are operating and under what sorts of terms. Okay, so that is our show for today. This will be rebroadcast tomorrow on KSAR, and it'll be put on Facebook. And we will have our next show next Wednesday. So that's what we have for today. See everybody soon.